what is in store for all things multiplayer in Operation 5. We have Tony Flame, Miles Leslie. Gentlemen, welcome to the stream.
Thanks for having us.
Awesome to be here, John. Thanks for having us.
All right, let's jump right into it. Let's get into kind of an overview for launch week. Let's start with news around Reaper. Tony, what did you bring for us?
Reaper is coming into the multiplayer game. We're super excited for that. He is bringing his scythe, his specialist weapon. It's a big machine gun, as you might expect. It's a little different than you've seen it before. It's Black Ops 4 is prequel. It's in a different time period than Black Ops 3. So he doesn't have his minigun arm yet. What he does have is a giant double-barreled 50 cal machine gun. So he pulls that bad boy out. And it's pretty straightforward. You shoot it fires big bullets that do a lot of damage.
Please, hold on. For some of our newer players, can you please explain how that works?
Yeah, sorry, I'll slow down.
It's about yay big, and it does about yay damage.
It's such a giant gun that only Reaper could carry it, so that's why we had to wait until Reaper came out to release this weapon.
No mere mortal could hold it except Reaper.
Yeah,
correct.
Makes sense.
He's not immortal either.
That's right.
Yeah. So he's got two barrels. When you fire it from the hip, it's gonna be firing from both barrels, doing a lot of damage. And it'll be doing a pretty slow fire rate. But once you aim up, you're going to zoom in a little bit, and that's when you really rev it up, and it's going to be firing those things at an even faster fire rate. Devastating against players, score streaks, equipment, pretty much anything. You're going to be a little bit slow and vulnerable while you're using it, though. So that's Reaper's specialist weapon. And to accommodate that, Reaper has got the Shroud, which is his equipment, his special issue equipment. So the way the Shroud works, it basically creates an area on the minimap that completely blacks it out for enemies. So you can't be seen by enemy fog of war, you can't be seen by enemy UAVs, anything like that. When you fire your weapon, you don't show up. The whole area within this Shroud, when it's deployed, is blocked out to enemies. So it's a great spot to get your whole team up. You can just lay down fire with your scythe, and no one will know necessarily where you are based on the minimap. They'll have to find you the old-fashioned way, finding your tracers and your gunfire and all of that. So it synergizes really well with his scythe, and it creates some new gameplay opportunities where if you're trying to either hold down an area where your team's at and you don't want to be seen in there, you can do that, or you can, if you're attacking an objective, you can shoot the Shroud. It fires kind of like the sensor dart, so you can shoot it at a trajectory at a distance, and that way you're laying cover for your team to advance.
Sure. Interesting way to play with the minimap. Interesting. All right, but there's also some news on the party game front. What are we bringing with this operation? So
starting tomorrow, Sticks and Stones, the new party game mode for this operation, is going to be the featured playlist. It's a party game mode, so you can bring your friends in. It's a free-for-all. We had a ton of fun playing just the other day.
Yeah.
So the way this game mode works, it's a free-for-all. You're fighting against everybody in there, and you load out with an explosive crossbow. Shoot somebody with a crossbow. It's not going to kill them when it hits them, but it's going to blow up shortly after, and then they're going down. So that's a skill shot. It's a projectile. Then when you switch to your secondary weapon, you got a ballistic knife. So instant kill melees, or the ballistic knife, you hit them with that, also a skill shot weapon. And then as your equipment, everyone's got a hatchet. It's another skill shot weapon. So it's a lot of fun. You're running around trying to hit each other with these, trying to lead players. If there's kind of a little rock, paper, scissors going on there, where you got a melee on the ballistic knife. But on the crossbow, you've got explosives. But they don't die immediately. And then the hatchet has got kind of the real factor here. So the way that the scoring works in this, let's talk a little bit about that.
Yeah.
So if you kill an enemy with the crossbow or the ballistic knife, it's going to be 100 points towards your score. The person with the most score at the end of the game wins. Hatchet only gets you 50 points, but the person that you're taking out with the hatchet, their score is completely zeroed out.
Yep.
So that's kind of what makes
It's so brutal.
It's what makes the game so fun, though, because you could go on such a crazy run. You're like, oh, I want to be in first place. You get to first place, and then you realize everyone's trying to take you out with a hatchet.
It's literally like, great, I'm first. Oh no, right?
Absolutely, good times.
So to help drive the action on that, we've got a UAV ping that happens about every minute, just to make sure that the first place player isn't camping too much. And not only is there a UAV ping, but if you are in first place, you're going to be shown with a gold dot instead of a red dot. So everyone's going to know where you are. They're going to be coming after you. So there is no safe haven, and it's just a ton of fun.
All right, so that's Sticks and Stones. That's awesome stuff. But we also have some maps with us for everyone in the Black Ops Pass, and Miles is over here. He brought some footage. He brought a build.
I brought
better than footage. Brought a build.
The real thing.
Yeah.
I'm super excited to talk about the new maps coming out in Apocalypse Z. Like we've tried to do with all of the maps on each operation, was really themed them appropriate to the operation. And this is all about zombies invading the rest of the game. And so we really took to that heart of what are some cool elements we haven't done in the multiplayer maps. This map that we're looking at is called Der Schatten, which means the shadow. And this is all about...
Tell us about the naming meeting on that one. How did that go?
Well, this is actually, it's pretty different for MP because we haven't done a German map. Zombies has done this before with Der Eisendrache and some of the other stuff they've done. Is this map actually relates one-to-one to Der Eisendrache, because if you look up here, we've actually got the castle Der Eisendrache. Is this whole map takes place in the shadow, which is why it's called the shadow of Der Eisendrache. So we've kind of planed them together in that sense. And so you get to play in this little Austrian Alps town, but the main thing is that the ginormous robot that sort of has fallen victim across the entire map, which is pretty cool. So you get these really epic kind of gameplay moments fighting in his guts, basically.
Yeah.
So you're crawling through and it's totally smashed this church. And what's really cool is that the element 115 has got these supernatural properties where things are not as they seem, so things are floating. He's leaking his guts everywhere and you get some really cool gameplay. You come out here and what this is really cool is this is where his head's fallen. Naturally, because it fell off of the church when he smashed down. But it's really cool is this is like a really awesome power position Overwatch here. So you get to look through his visor and feel like you're the robot, you know, which is something really cool. And then you get little green interact button. If you see his finger over there, you can time it because you can see the shadow of enemy players. Press this bad boy, and that finger is going to smash enemies to bits, which is pretty exciting.
Oh, yeah.
So this is pretty cool. It's a cool little thing to kind of block them and also kind of smash them down if you can. But this map is very different, right? It does take place at night. We're trying to mirror, again, what was in Der Eisendrache and offer some new and interesting things. And I got this train station. The long engagement down the street is super interesting in terms of decision making, because you can have these really long engagements or you can cut through the backside and cut through some of these buildings. So we think in the portfolio of the Operation Z maps, it's really, really interesting. We've also got some hidden friends that like to hang out as well. A little zombie action.
Fitting for the operation.
There you go.
Right.
Thematically appropriate.
There's some cool stuff overall. This is like what we call our little Christmas lane. Some bad juju happened here, unfortunately. But we're really excited about this because it's got some really interesting stuff overall. It is a larger map, and what that allows us to do is there's just a lot of different ways to move around the map and flank players and try to outsmart them in really, really cool and clever ways overall. So we're excited to get this in people's hands.
Talk a little bit about the sort of the design process or the creative process behind this, because I mean, whenever you said that your team really kind of took it to heart, you weren't kidding.
No, yeah, this is exciting because we were like, hey, we're gonna do a zombie operation. You're like, what does that mean? And then the team starts to go, okay, man, what have we not done? And we really haven't showcased some of the awesome sort of what the zombies team has been doing and bring that into multiplayer and enhance that through multiplayer. And this is where we were, I want to get in this visor, we want to fight it. This was a cool idea we had, and now it becomes a power position. What happens if the guts and this robot falls over the entire map? What does that mean to the village? How does that change normal flow? Just offer some really, really cool opportunities. And then fighting around the floating stuff. The 115 is pretty cool and exciting overall. So it's just more opportunities to do things we haven't done before, visually and gameplay wise.
Yeah, it's interesting you mentioned that for the zombies, the theme, right? Everything's supposed to fit in. And that's actually why we chose Reaper for this operation, because he can't be affected by this, can't be bitten by the zombies.
That's right.
He's a robot.
Naturally immune.
He is the zombie Terminator.
Miles, it's super cool, but that's not the only map that you brought with us. There are 3 maps in all, and right now you are taking us to a new one. Where are we at right now?
Yeah, so this map's called Remnant, and it takes place in the Louisiana marshes. So it's got this really creepy supernatural vibe. And where we are at is at the Museum of Unnatural History, and we really love this map because what we've started to do was grab bits and pieces of zombie history and do a little twist on it. So if we go to the Crater of Hell exhibit, this will actually take us to the moon. And so we've got this little cool diorama of, if zombie players would know, this is the sort of the moon stuff. And you'd come out here and you get to play in the actual moon. So what we've really done is this museum has started to buy these artifacts around the world. They don't actually know that they're zombified, and so they happen to buy naturally. And they buy one, and unfortunately, it's still alive, and it unleashes chaos across the entire map, turning people into zombies. And now here we are in the aftermath, and then some of the people have turned into zombies. This is like an astronaut that was showing people the moon area. Now he's a zombie, and he's stuck up there. So it's like little cool vignettes around that we really get to embellish. And then it's really cool visual contrast and gameplay contrast where you step into this environment and you feel like you're on the moon, and you get this really high to low differentiation. Get in the crater because we've got some like hard points here and Dom stuff, which is really super unique. And then you step out and you're into a whole new world. Or hey, let's go to the bus to the beyond, which is transit. Right. So now we're at the diner, and we got our fake people eating in there. Again, little zombie over there eating, stuck in there. But it's really cool because this is all about getting into that bus, and you've never actually played this MP, so now you're in the bus, you're trying to hold it down. There's a lot of objectives around here. This map's the first map we've actually done 7 hardpoints, which is super interesting. The map's pretty big overall, and we really wanted to try to maximize that space. So you get a lot of variety as you're playing the maps, and a lot of clever choices to make on the inside to outside.
What were the playtests like with that? How'd that all pan out?
We were a little worried, but surprisingly, everyone was like, "Man, this is awesome. We should do more of that," which is cool. Except you need more space, so it was like eat chicken or egg. But it worked out. The next exhibit is what we're calling the Wicked Waters, and this is basically kind of a small recreation of Titanic. So we've taken some of the cool bits from Titanic. You're out at sea here. And then we've got kind of these ghosts. So the story being here is that these souls lost from the Titanic are trapped in the museum, and again, they're trying to scare you. It's like the haunted mansion kind of Disneyland is. They don't really know what happened, but it offers unique gameplay, right? You just came from the bus and transit and shooting and holding that down to now making more decisions going in and out of the little mini boat, and now you can try to hold down the front of the boat and try to hold down these other positions in front of you overall. And if we keep going, and
this is great. You're actually the tour guide.
Yeah, that's right. Welcome to the Museum of Natural History. We got some shirts that we'll be selling at the end of the tour. But it's awesome because the whole outside is in the marshes. It's really creepy. And then we come over here, and now we've entered into the Asylum. Again, players will sort of recognize this as really creepy chair, creepy lighting. Just lean into each of these exhibits. Oh, hello, zombie friend again. Overall, and then we're back at sort of the front. So each area has its own theming overall of exhibits, which is really cool when you talk about how did we lean into this sort of zombie theming and operation. This was really exciting for us to get into these different areas, this zombie lore, and really enhance it sort of MP-wise, how we can play it.
Yeah, I've never played an MP map that feels so much like a zombies map.
Yeah.
But it's its own creation in and of itself.
Yeah. And it's so different from each side, right? Like now we're outside in the creepy marshes, and we've got like a bomb site here, so you get some really interesting gameplay of like the water and coming in and out overall. And then just cutting through all these different buildings is really, really exciting.
Again, come back to the creative process here, because you're mixing so many like different locales from and so much heritage. I mean, how did you land on these spots?
It was surprisingly difficult. We actually took stock of like all the zombie maps we have done. Right?
Yeah.
We were like, okay, we want to do a museum idea. What are the sort of the best ones that offer unique gameplay? Because if it wasn't going to provide gameplay, it wouldn't be right for multiplayer, right? So the bus was kind of like everyone was like, dude, I want to get in the transit bus. I want to get in that bus, right? And I want to shoot from it and try to hold it down. I want to get on the moon and fight in that crater and be on the surface of the moon because we haven't been able to do that in MP. And you get your little fakery here where you can do it. So each one had to really offer some really unique gameplay. And if it didn't have that, then it kind of didn't hit the sort of sniff test on being enough for this sort of map.
Well, talk about that marriage between like sort of the zombies heritage, but also, I mean, whenever you were outside, clearly you brought in some new gameplay variety, around the edges.
Yeah, we wanted to, it's twofold. Use the thing that was iconic from zombies, use it in a new, interesting way, and then try to offer some really unique ways to engage in and around it. This map, because of its sheer size, has so many decisions. Not that you get overwhelmed, but everywhere you go, you really have to make some thoughtful decisions, right? If I'm in the bus, do I hold it down? Where am I moving? Am I going through the wicked waters? Am I going on the outside? If I go on the outside, do I go in the water? Do I come back out of it? Do I go back into Titanic? You know, do I go into Asylum? We really wanted to let players have this playground of all the different cool exhibits to do what they kind of want to do and play how they want to play. There's different ranges across the entire map overall.
All right.
How do the call-outs work? Has the team, has there been a lot of that?
Oh, this map is the best for landmarking, right? Because you're like, I'm on the moon, and everyone's like, yeah, you're on the moon, and then I'm in transit, right? So it adds a gameplay element, like you're saying, which is really cool. This under here is like the archive room, if you think like Raiders of the Lost Ark, where they've got all the old stuff. This is kind of the idea here.
You got the best men on it.
Yeah, best men.
No, that's interesting because I mean, whenever you talk about one of the hallmarks of Treyarch map design, it's just like there are always these landmarks that you can kind of call out to. Was this just like hitting the easy button on the bus?
Yeah, it was easy. Their landmarking, making them fun and work for multiplayer was the hardest thing iteration-wise overall. But we're really happy with where we landed. I'm really excited for players to get their hands on this and kind of have some of the fun that we've had with the map and also find some of the Easter egg. I mean, there's the awesome dog, right? Like there's so much cool zombie stuff that it was like we had to use it. It was really cool because you get people across the studio that have never worked on multiplayer.
Yeah.
And they're like, I saw you use the zombie thing from the previous map. And we're like, yes, we did. It was awesome. Thank you when you made that X years ago, right? Pretty awesome overall.
You could see the creativity being unleashed in this operation, especially from the map team. It's been awesome to see.
Yeah, super cool.
But wait, there's more.
That's right. So the last map in the operation Apocalypse Z is Havana. So we're bringing back Havana, which we're super excited about. And if you think about the portfolio of the maps, we went from the Austrian Alps under Schatten all the way to the Louisiana marshes, right, with Remnant, and now we're in Havana, which takes place in Cuba. And this map is so drastically different than the other ones. This map is all about risk versus reward, high risk, high reward. This map has very, very long engagements down this center street. If players remember this, for new players, it is all about you can go down the street, you're going to be super exposed, or you can cut into sort of the plethora of different flanking options across the buildings overall. And this is where you start to get really sneaky and clever on the stacked gameplay. There's a guy underneath me. Let me get under here and try to get to him overall, which is really cool. We've been wanting to bring this back for a long time and trying to find the right time to do it. This felt like the right time. I know people go like, it's a zombies operation. That doesn't make sense. It was more of the portfolio of the experiences for the maps. And this felt right with the other maps because it's so different than the other two. And the overall totality of the portfolio of all the maps we've sort of released at this point.
Yeah, great sniping opportunities on here, down the street, from window to window. There's almost no other fight quite like this in the game in terms of sniper versus sniper in multiplayer.
Yeah.
Not a lot of them.
Yeah, I have great memories when we first did this, and now bringing it back, it was pretty awesome. You run around shotgun SMG, you stay in the back alleys in the streets, and you try to own that. And then for the guys, there's tons of guys on our team that are so good at sniping. I hate them. Bernard, shout out to you. Overall, is they will just sit here and destroy your face, and then you really have to think smart. Okay, I'm going to get Spectre, I'm going to throw some smoke out there, and I'm going to go knife you, right? So there's ways to use the tools to your advantage, and this map really challenges you overall to do that. Much in the same way the other ones, but this one because of the high cost down the street.
As you're spinning around here, I have to tell you, it's like I'm having like flashbacks.
Oh, same here. I'm enjoying it.
Yeah, this one's awesome. We have our zombies sort of tie-in is down at the theater over here. They basically are having a film festival for zombie movies. So this is our sort of little nice nod to the zombies operation Apocalypse Z. But this stuff's really cool. It was really awesome, especially for some of the new team members to see some of the old stuff and how it's different and how we're enhancing it as well. This one was really fun to bring back. It looks really gorgeous and it really completes the package overall.
As we kind of wrap things up, any closing thoughts around maps, total offerings?
I'm super excited. I mean, we've really tried to do a lot of different things for BO4, especially for the post-ship content.
Yeah.
The previous two maps and this map really lean into providing different experiences to really enhance the next one and the next one and the next one. So hopefully players appreciate that we're kind of stepping out of our comfort zone and the team's really trying to push themselves beyond their limits in terms of creativity and design and art and visual.
There's also some other news on the infected front.
Yeah, we'll have game modes coming back, cycling through. We're not done yet. There's more coming. And of course, with the zombie-themed operation, we'll have infected coming back. other game modes as well. Gun game's going to be coming back, and we're making
Nice.
a little change there, where the ballistic knife will be the last weapon that you get. So we'll be switching out the weapons a little bit there. Stockpile, and a lot of fun game modes coming and rotating throughout the operation.
All right, very cool. Gentlemen, thank you very much.